And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Swain Batty League Season 9. We are finally here in the official Week 2 after a short break. I'll be casting tonight. I'm also the Commissioner of the League 30, and I'll be joined tonight by AGS Zero and Failed Destiny for a little tri-cast action. How are both of you doing tonight?
Heyo, I'm doing pretty good. So I'm excited to see how the teams perform this next week, as they've had an extra week to practice, which we normally don't have.
Yeah, I am also really excited here because with a week off, I've had plenty of time to forget just about everything that happened in the first week, and it might take me a little bit into this game to kind of get jolted back to reality.
Too long didn't read. The winners won, the losers lost. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I'm excited as well. And before we get into this match, let's talk about last week. MVPs here. Game 1, going to Phoenix Blaze from Pot of Greed. Played Ziggs in the mid lane, 6-0-4 for him. A very good showing against My Wang there. Game 2, Renai Circulation. No surprise there. He surprisingly got Vel'Koz after 5 bans. He plays for Think Twice's Scrappy affiliates, and he went 5-1-3 on the Vel'Koz. And Game 3, going over to the MVP we love to hate, Salvo from Coffee House, playing Jinx. Once again, got Jinx with 5 bans. Will teams learn this week what 5 bans mean? I guess we will find out.
My money is definitely on no. This is the Batty League after all.
Yeah, and everyone doing a lot of damage with said champions and going pretty unkillable with their relative KDA. So we'll see how graceful everyone is in bans this week.
Yeah, it's really pretty incredible, especially with the Vel'Koz and the Jinx, because there's like you always assume like, well, it probably won't be as bad as we remember, and then guys get a champ like that, and it's as bad as you remember, and you're like, well, whoever did the draft for that team has to just be like, sorry guys, I fucked up.
Well, and to have the MVP go over to Phoenix Blaze, who went very late in the draft, to go 6-0-4 against Wang in lane is pretty unexpected.
All right. Well, we're in the draft here. Hopefully you guys are watching the stream because it's live now. This is the new champion select application written by our own Keinhosen. So really special thanks to him. This is way better than last week. And Aatrox is selectable. So, I mean, that's good. Yeah.
It looks really sweet, and I essentially feel like we're playing in the real LCS. And as bans have come out, we see that One Trick Bronies have since banned Kled and Darius. Coffee House, first 2 bans are Katarina and Ezreal.
Okay. Would make sense with the Sinister Beyblade player on the One Trick Bronies.
Yeah.
I don't suspect him to get Katarina anytime soon.
No,
It was
not.
surprising that Blab got it. His one trick, well, he's not necessarily a one trick, but his like best. So maybe at some point he'll get to play it, but yeah, as a one trick, it's very easy to target that champion.
Yeah, and on the other side, we see One Trick Bronies going with the tried and fairly true strategy of take away as many Mad Cow champs as possible, with the Kled, Darius, and Wukong all being targeted at the cow.
And at the same time, they end up picking up the Jinx. So that's our first answer for this week's MVP of are they going to get it again? And the answer is yes, so far.
I am really excited to watch Salvo on the Jinx up against Mad Cow, because Mad Cow can play some pretty aggressive carry hunters. You know, if he's able to get out of the 1v1 in the top lane, that could be a really fun matchup as we get into the late game of this matchup.
Actually, I'm backwards. One Trick Bronies does not have Salvo. Salvo is on Coffee House, and they got Jin and Janna. So that's a One Trick Bronies picking Jinx to take it away from Salvo. So ignore my poor commentary.
And ignore me following up.
He backed him up, though. That was good teamwork.
That was, I think we could have sold it. We could have just been casting these guys like they were the other team the whole way through.
Yeah, reverse the whole night. then the winner of the game would be very confused as
So
the champions are wrong. But
really
as
tough odds to watch.
yeah, as it goes forward though, One Trick Bronies continue with Ivern and Syndra. So Ivern, who's seen some play, a lot of different ways to play him, very utility-based jungler, kind of annoying as he doesn't really take harass in the jungle at all. On the opposite side, Coffee House picked up Zac, which is one of Dubdrum's favorite
Yes,
junglers.
that is a really, really good pick out of Coffee House. You're going to be up against Jinx, presumably Gabe O'Neill. And what do you want to do against Jinx? Do you want to dive that bitch? Who's going to dive better than Zac? Nobody.
Yeah, and as long as she doesn't get any kills or towers taken, she can't run away as quickly as some of the other champions can. Jhin with that crit shot giving him movement speed makes him very hard to actually pin down without hard CC. And it looks like the ban's about to expire.
Yeah, no, we someone forgot to select a band, so we're gonna start over. Same picks and bands up until this point.
Oh, okay.
This feels like the baddie league I know and love.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Do they have 30 seconds per ban again?
Yep.
Okay.
Mad Cow just thought it was their band.
He needs to watch more LCS, and then he'd realize that red side gets the first ban on the second wave of banning.
Alright, so we have a new lobby going up.
So we should go pretty quickly through the pick and ban as soon as everyone's ready again.
Is there a lock-in feature on this for the players? Okay, good.
And for those watching, is there a distinguishable difference between hovering and locking in? Is it a green border versus like a black border?
Nope, the green border represents where we are in the draft. The gray one represents what's next. There is
Gotcha.
no hovering.
Oh, so once it's selected, that's
We will
final.
see it, yes.
Okay. So yeah, no troll picks, no one hovering Teemo or Aatrox or Urgot, anything trolly will really see anything come out. So what you're seeing is final as we hear from 30, the commissioner.
Yep, everything's going pretty smoothly now. So we'll resume right at the start of the second ban phase, actually, with Coffee House. Once you get there, these picks look good. Ivern, is this the first Ivern pick in SBL?
Yes, it is.
Nice. What a goofy character. I like him.
Yeah, he summoned someone else to do his bidding, and it's just a forest golem, Daisy, who's got a daisy on her head, and she punches you to death.
Yeah, I have to say, Ivern is definitely my favorite new pick since I ceased playing the game to watch. Just because every time the camera shows Ivern doing his stupid little strut, and you get to watch Daisy, and the cast is always so excited when Daisy's around, and it's like a wholesome meme as a lead character right there.
And for you internet trolls, I did assume his gender. But back to the picks and bans that have come out so far, Mordekaiser has been banned, Poppy has been banned by Coffee House, and then the Echo has also been banned. So this should be the last ban before Coffee House gets to pick their fourth champion.
Will it be the 5th Mad Cow band?
Ooh, good question. How small can his pool get and him not still care? There were 3 double negatives in there if anyone was paying attention.
And it is Ziggs.
Oh!
They had the chance. So if Mad Cow carries this game, they can only blame themselves. So if you're Mad Cow and you're up to pick, do you pick your champion so that they can't oh, well, he didn't. So
Zyra. So that's
Zyra
going into the mid lane, yeah. Zach, presumably the jungler here. I mean, potentially could be flex top if they're so willing, but I doubt that.
Is Darl we in this? That's Mad Cow, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
I just had a moment where I was like, don't tell me we've been casting another player wrong this whole time.
Oh yeah, so another name change for people who haven't realized. People always do this. They change names after draft before the game starts. Skarl we Indus is Mad Cow.
The problem, I don't have a problem with the name change. I have a problem with the people that have such bad name changes. Back in the day, there was some, respect when you added a king to your name because you were that guy. Like, now we just get Renai circulations and Skarl we in this. Yo, oh, fuck you, Purple. You fucking cunts. I can't believe Mad Cow actually picked Maokai.
Yep, and there you go, folks. That's the end of the draft, and that's what we're gonna load into the riff with.
Which it's interesting. This is, I think, the first time Camille's been in a game, and then, like Swift said, Maokai for Mad Cow.
Yeah, I am really excited to see On the Winds playing that's Camille in the top lane. That's a bit different than what you normally expect out of On the Winds. And for people who maybe been following the game pretty casually, Camille was super, super ridiculously powerful at the start of the LCS season, but she has been nerfed, I believe, in 7.3. So she's not quite the 100% pick ban LCS presence she was just a few weeks ago. And it's also a very different type of character than normally see On the Wind playing. Camille, a bit of a hard carry kind of champ.
And very mechanically intensive. Not to say that On the Wind can't play mechanically intensive ones, because I think Echo falls into that category. But there's a lot of bouncing back and forth and then just trapping someone in a square.
Is that fear I smell?
I do not tolerate.
Yeah, so going to be a bit of pressure on the Winds in this comp. Especially because their only tank is going to be the Ivern in the jungle.
If he builds tanky. And then Thresh, maybe, after those support items, might try and build tanky as well. But
yeah,
it's quite the dichotomy. Really... On the other side, Zac and Maokai, very, very hefty champions.
Yeah, I just do not like this comp out of one-trick bronies. And this is a team that's currently 0-1. And if I have to just go off picks, I don't really like their chances of changing it here. I feel like when you have a Jinx and a Syndra, you need to pick something. You need to pick some kind of frontliner in the top lane, and they opted for the Camille instead. And they already knew that they were going to be up against the Zac and a Maokai. Or well, they didn't know the Maokai until the end, but they knew they were going to be up against the Zac. This seems like a game where Mad Cow and Dubdrum could just go wild.
Do you think the Camille pick was to take it away from Mad Cow? Do you think they forced themselves into it by banning the Ziggs?
I wouldn't be surprised, but the way the draft went, I think they had to just give the Camille over. Like I said, I obviously haven't been people solo queue like I would have when I was a player, so maybe Mad Cow's got 2,000 games of Camille this season. There's a point where you have to let the guy have one of his champions.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes of the champion select. One-trick bronies, it looks like we'll have to win the game quickly before, like, the end of the mid-game happens, where Jinx just has a whole bunch of items, Syndra has a whole bunch of items, and then they can just blow everyone up before Zac and Maokai can get tanky enough to stop them, or Jhin get the items to retaliate. So if they can do that, I think they have a good chance. But the champions on the other side really slow them down from doing that. Janna ults, Jhin ults, Zyra ults, Zach, just a lot of utility and health, and then Maokai, a lot of utility and defensive stats.
Yeah, looking at the comp out of Coffee House, I really like the way they're going to be able to play this game out. They're going to be able to let Mad Cow and Dub Drum just go ape shit, diving one trick Brony's backline, while you have Cruise Master and Sensory GG with a ton of peel. So Salvo really isn't going to be able to be abused on one of those immobile AD carries. And we already know Salvo's teamfight positioning typically very good. It's going to be so hard to engage into Salvo that if Dubdrum and Mad Cow can get a pick onto one of the carries, whether that's Gabe O'Neill or Sinister Beyblade, it should be really easy for them to mop up the rest of the team very fast. And if they get a lead, it's a lot easier to keep a lead when you have tanks on your team, which they do.
Yeah, I think ultimately they just want to play the game slow on the side of Coffee House, and they have a really good chance of just prolonging the game until everyone's relevant. And playing the game slow when you've got all that utility is easy.
Yes, I agree so much with playing the game slow. There is no pressure on them to force anything, and hopefully they realize that early on.
The funny thing is, this is the SBL, so I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden, like, bot lane, Salvo, and Sensory GG are just like, we in this, boys, and trying to kill everyone all the time. And they just keep funneling bodies into Gabe O'Neill and Hibbs to just try and slow them down, but just feed them kills, and doing the exact opposite of what they really want in this game.
Yeah, and that kind of also applies to Dubdrum. You know, if you're looking at a matchup in a vacuum and you tell somebody, hey, you know, Dubdrum fed 3 kills on bad ganks, would that surprise anyone? Not really. So I think that's what OTB is going to be most hoping for, is just some mistakes early on. If they can get a lead in any of their 3 lanes, because all 3 of those lanes have the potential to get leads, and then just start snowballing hard wherever they get it.
So do you think either team is going to have any idea what they want to do level 1 to try and fend off the other team, or just try and get an early lead? Because there's a lot of CC on the side of One Trick Bronies. A lot. For level 1.
There is, but there's also a lot of, if you walk into, you die, particularly the Zyra and the Janna, and kind of the Jhin.
Oh, very good point.
Maybe OTB goes looking for a lucky hook somewhere, but I would not commit to it if I were OTB. I would just be too scared of all that level 1 CC. And in the same token, I would be surprised to see Coffee House doing much, because it's all defensive back off CC they have, not really the kind of aggressive invade stuff, but we will see. As anyone that plays with me knows, I was never a big fan of level 1 stuff in general, so I like to just assume no one's ever going to do it, and that's not always the case.
Level 1s are exciting, and that is what we live for as casters. And lots of easy things to cast, like, hey, don't dive under tower 1v5. That doesn't go well. But we've still seen it happen, as it's the SBL. Yeah, a lot of different strategies, a lot of potential coming out of both of these teams. We'll see who ends up playing their strategy better, or if it comes down to strategy or team comp, as it might just be a Baron throw, and that might be the strategy.
I gotta say, I shot called for a long time. The Baron throw was never something I went into a game planning on. Is that where I fell short? I didn't try to Baron throw enough.
Yeah, you just don't go to Baron, and when the enemy team does, you just let them Baron, and then you take it and you win the game.
That's damn. I'm coming back. SBL season 10.
That's how Dignitas. Everyone played against Dignitas, so we know it works in the pros. It can work in the SBL.
Oh, I hope my settings aren't all fucked up.
Yeah, I always have to remember how to get into it.
I reinstalled Windows between the last time I played and now, so...
Was your house cold without windows? For anyone that hates me, I am the freak of the
What the fuck?
Batty League.
I appreciate the delayed laugh out of 50.
Oh my
but,
god.
Looking at this level 1 here, so we do see Coffee House going for the exact play we were talking about, just hoping for an invade out of OTB, and then capitalizing. OTB not gonna give it to him. Guess we can call them Y. Get it? Because like Pokemon X and Y are opposites, and if X is gonna be the one that's gonna give it to you, Y is gonna be the one that ain't gonna give you anything.
X gonna give it to you.
But guys, I think we can drop the viewers down to the single digits. We just need one more joke.
So wait, TD Garbage, who is this?
That fuck if I know. You're the commissioner.
That's Thor, I believe, right? Can
Yeah, on
someone?
that team? I don't know. Oh man, why is my video full screen? No. Wireless.
The level 1, it didn't look like we had anything big coming out on the wind, exploring over to see where, if you might be able to see anybody, but doesn't. And then, on the other hand, just farming minions.
Yeah, apparently, according to Thornton Mace, that is Thor on the Ivern. So that's something. I guess he's a jungler now. You know, I'll let Thor do his thing.
Yeah, and this is his first game of the season. He wasn't able to play week 1. So, and this is a role transition for him as well. He what has he done? Top and mid lane now, and now jungle as his third role.
Something I would like to point out, Mad Cow started taking the Krugs and took the little one to get level 2 earlier and is now harassing On the Wind top lane. On the Wind just hit level 2, whereas Mad Cow is close to hitting level 3.
Yeah, we'll see if Mad Cow can get an advantage at level 3, maybe. He didn't really press the level 2 as high as he could have, especially given the creep wave he had. And it's not like On the Wind is a super scary laner to be up against, although I don't know the mechanics of Camille as well. But, probably could have done a little bit more there. But, speaking of On the Wind engaging into a level up and a giant creep wave, gonna take a really bad trade there and blow his only health pot.
Really heads up play for Mad Cow. Anyone that plays top is probably aware of being able to do that, but as a support, I didn't think about, hey, I'll take this single one and be at level.
A heads up play, he was like, what is this idiot doing? And he just hit his Q. He was like, shit, man, you want to give me this lane? Oh, alright. People didn't do that stuff versus me, man.
Some people like an easy way, some people like a hard way.
Watch out. Mad Cow playing pretty forward in this lane here. Now, On the Wind going in. Thor coming in for the gank, and a Mad Cow flash going to be forced. Thor misses the skill shot, and now here's Dub Drum on the counter gank as Mad Cow goes back in for a little bit of CC. A lot of damage onto TD Garbage, but the red slow not going to be followed. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, huge trades going on in both directions. Both these guys going to pop their health pots. And now Dub Drum going back in on the Wind.
I'm surprised they didn't stay a little bit longer. They were winning that trade, and Ivern had to get out of there. He had like 200 health left. Ooh, and Mad Cow is TP'ing back to lane, but it looks like they saw it. So, just gonna walk away from that one.
Just wanted to end up closer to the creeps. I can respect that.
And be sneaky.
User joined your channel.
I just want to preemptively apologize. I'm going to at some point overhype some Ivern and Camille plays because I am not as familiar with them. And in the mid lane champions, I do know Dub Drum going in on Sinister Beyblade gets the knockup, a really bad flash, and first blood going to the Ignite tick for Cruise Master.
Cruise Master just played that really well. He didn't show or act like anyone was going to be coming from the jungle side, and then landing the damage, getting the Ignite off. He's very healthy. He doesn't have to back here unless he wants to get another item.
Yeah, that's really rough for Sinister because he was getting a gigantic CS lead and he throws it away entirely, in addition to losing his flash. And Dub Drum, I'm not going to call him the smartest player I know, but he knows how to gank a Syndra with no flash up. So expect to see some more of Dub in that mid lane, and maybe this could turn into something big for Coffee House.
I would like to say too, On the Wind has been missing quite a few creeps. I don't know if he's not as practiced as he'd like to be on Camille, but currently, well, he was about 10 CS down against Mad Cow.
Yeah, a big part of that does come down to what happened at level 2 and level 3. Mad Cow did set that up kind of for the long haul, and he has had really the heads up in this lane the whole time, forcing On the Wind under his turret. But now On the Wind going in for a gank, but Dum is there, and On the Wind only has a flash defensively. He flashes into the creeps, so they're going to stun or step him, trying to get out of this one. He is super low, and he's going to barely make it under his tower as Thor comes in. He flashed?
He flashed into it and missed the stun. So ultimately didn't do anything to help On the Wind.
You know,
I think he should actually come back and give shields to On the Wind so he can farm this wave. Otherwise he's gonna just continue to take damage. Oh, and Dubdrum might come over the wall here.
I really appreciate what Thor's doing with that name change. He was letting us know what level of play to expect. Because Thor has not been on these ganks, and now here comes the Wind with the dodge!
And then the
So
spectator quickly turned away.
I love when
Very
Spectate spoils you.
well-coordinated.
The play is already over. Let's go watch the 2v2.
Yep. Yeah, Sinister Beyblade is still accruing quite a large CS lead here. I think he's having a lot of fun bullying Cruise Master, and that's how he died early on. Well, the reason he died early on is because he didn't flash the slingshot, but now he has to play a little more careful, but he doesn't seem to be given the respect that he should.
Yeah, Dubdrum's going to want to go to that lane before too much longer, as that creep deficit's not getting any smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And his flash is still down if they're tracking it. Which means if they land another slingshot, it could be the death of Sinister Beyblade.
But Dubdrum's instead looking at this bot lane, and he's going to be there well before Thor. Actually, Thor now pathing towards that mid lane. If we see the Jinx moving forward at all, and we're going to see a knockup onto Hibbs, and Hibbs with a nice play forces Dubdrum under the tower, and he's going to get hit by the Jinx choppers. Dubdrum very low. Meanwhile, in the top lane, On the Wind being beat up on. I know this fight is not over because Ivern has arrived, and Gabe O'Neal on the chase forward gets the rockets and going for some resets. Going to just settle for the Zac blobs though, but Gabe O'Neal needs to be careful. He's taking a lot of damage here. He gets the kill on a Dubdrum. Now Salvo gets played back away from his turret in a lot of danger here. He gets snared. He has to flash defensively, and there is not going to be a crit, but there is going to be a flash auto double kill for Gabe O'Neal.
Oh, he's going. Oh, he went for more.
Really awkward rocket. Very excited. We get it, Gabe?
Did he just level up and he just launched it right away?
Yes.
That's awesome. Nice try there, but that's big.
Yeah. Getting 2 kills back to back like that is nothing to scoff at. The hype was real though with launching that rocket. We can tell.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been a pretty horror story for Coffee House though. 2-0 Jinx.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we were saying earlier, all OTB needed was to get a lead somewhere that they could start riding into the mid game, and 2-0 on Jinx is exactly that.
Yeah, and then in the mid lane, the gold differential is essentially null, and the items are essentially the same. So
Yeah, Sinister Beyblade's now actually up a few creeps worth of gold on Cruise Master, so... And that flash is about to come back up, so Dubdrum didn't do anything with that advantage he gained. And it's been thrown away by the high platinum laner, who, even if he's not playing as Katarina, we kind of expected going into this season, Cruise Master was going to be the weak link on Coffee House. And with the number of high platinum mid laners in this league, they gotta watch out. Even when he's playing his best champion Zyra, he's getting abused right now.
Dubdrum playing a little deep. He doesn't have his blobs up. Just taking free harass. If Sinister Beyblade wanted to ult him, he would have been brought really low. And Camille was pretty close to jump in on that as well. So I think he's a little hypey at the moment.
And speaking of the Camille, On the Wind being engaged on in the top lane, and he is really far behind On the Wind right now, although On the Wind is putting out a fair amount of damage despite being leveled up. He's going to drop the Camille ultimate. He's got to be careful because Thor Garbage is here, and they're going for the kill on the Mad Cow, and they are going to get it On the Wind back in the game.
Thor Garbage.
That was really awkward because he showed up to summon Daisy and walk away.
Yep.
Oh, and now Salvo tanks the hook. He does not have a flash available. Sentry GG going to interrupt the Jinxle, and they're going to just turn on to Sentry GG, who is as squishy as a support gets. Gabe O'Neal on a killing spree, but he has to heal defensively. Now, Dubjump chasing him, and he's got to be careful. Salvo's trying to curtain call. Gabe O'Neal and Hips are both very low here. The rocket goes in and almost takes out... No, I'm just kidding. I can't read Hellfires.
Yeah, if that did hit Dubdrum, he would have taken a lot of damage. Zach picked up like 3 blobs at the end there, so that's why he looks as healthy as he does now.
I got baited, thank goodness. But regardless, another huge play for OTB, where Gabe O'Neal, he's really living up to the hype in this game, man. After how awesome Salvo looked last week, Gabe O'Neal's kind of saying like, hey, sit the fuck back down, man. I'm the new SBL AD carry.
Yeah, dude, he's flexing pretty hard right now. This is really show how he's going to operate in team fights. So, I mean, he has this huge lead. He's super fed right now at Jinx, but it's really the position in team fights that's going to determine if he keeps his life or not.
And I don't want to discount Gabe at all, but Hibbs has had some really excellent hooks that led into things, and then plays that either bring people back in or stop their movement. Zach's damage has been essentially halved in the bottom lane because the plays stop them when anything tries to get done.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well. That's really on point.
A long-range stun on the Cruise Master, and the ult
lol.
go out. The mid laners are going to trade themselves.
Flash out a win there.
Just non-stop action. The max range hook onto Salvo, who still does not have his flash just quite yet. Gabe O'Neal takes a lot of damage, and he's going to... Oh, he's going to get shut down by Sentry GG, but Sentry should lose his life for this. He does not have much available, but no. Floor Garbage has yet to land a skill shot in this entire match. Now watch out, because Mad Cow and... The tower dive. It's over.
Oh, that's pretty clean. Well, let's dissect bottom lane first. That flash in by Sensor GG actually wouldn't have been very worth if he lost his life there, but maybe he had that all calculated. He's like, okay, Thor's gonna miss his skill shot, and I'm just gonna walk out.
And the knock up with the tornado at the end made sure that he got out alive.
Yeah, and then top lane looked like a pretty standard tower dive against the Camille. No flash earlier, taken out by Dubdrum, so just a repeat visit right away. Able to secure that kill. And yep, there we go, the missed skill shot.
Now Dubdrum looks like he wants to engage there. No. This has turned into a very exciting game really fast.
Yeah, Thor's presence alone has guaranteed kills. The skill shots he's missing haven't seemed to matter as much. They would have had more kills, but they're still ahead by 800 gold.
Yeah, Thor's doing a really excellent job of playing the jungle cheerleader right now. He just kind of shows up in a lane and says, yeah, go get him, you got this, buddy. And suddenly his lanes have, you know, the confidence to engage, and they do, and they get the kill.
Being
I've never thought of playing
0-0-4 and at the same CS as the person on the opposite side who is 1-1-1, not a bad day. If you can say that Thor is having essentially the same game as Dubdrum at 15 minutes, I think anyone on Thor's team will take that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool because Ivern is, you know, a very support-oriented jungler, and he's thriving in a meta where that type of jungler doesn't thrive. But yet he does remarkably well, and without even hitting skill shots, he still comes to the lane and uses his abilities to support his team members. And really, he only gets better as the game goes on, much like their entire team comp for One Trick Bronies here.
Yeah, as long as he builds correctly, it won't matter that he's missing skill shots.
Especially when he levels up his brush ability, and that starts growing huge amounts of brushes. Being able to take objectives quickly will be also accelerated by that.
Everyone is watching.
Speaking of objectives, the first dragon being an infernal and no one really looking at it until 15 minutes as of now, I'm very surprised to see.
Yeah, we do see a lot of posturing here. Dubdrum and Cruz look like they really want to commit to this. And it is late enough that this dragon should come down pretty fast, especially with the Zyra involved. But there is kind of a flank coming out of One Trick Bonies here, but a little too late to actually accomplish anything. That'll be a dragon secured by Coffeehouse.
Sinister Beyblade backed, and Coffeehouse saw the perfect opportunity to just take it without having their mid laner there. So at worst, it's a 4v5 in their favor having 5. So just very heads up play by their shot caller and their jungler.
Oh, the flash hibs out of whiffed. Looking like the boosted animal we think he might be, but the stun is going to hit Sinister Beyblade with the kill.
I think Thor actually hit that follow-up
did?
CC, dude, on that stun target.
That's
Money.
what
Diamond support missed 2 of his and his flash, and then
Missed
Garbage
the
Thor
flash.
lands his.
Yep.
What a turn of events.
Yeah, but we still have a pretty close scoreline here.
Oh, but Dubdrum wants to maybe even things up a bit as he puts down a ton of damage onto Hips. Hips trying to get out with the curtain call, gonna land. Now they're putting the damage onto Gabe O'Neal, who has to flash defensively. I don't think Salvo's gonna have a catch here. But Salvo pops the Yomus, he flashes, but does not successfully flash the Jinx W. And now here comes for Garbage. Popping out the Daisy, running into Sensory GG, getting knocked off, disengaging, but here's Cruise Master with a huge Zyra ultimate. They take out Jinx, and they're turning on a Sinister Beyblade. An easy 2 for
Sensory GG takes the kill.
Oh no.
And that hurts a little, but it's still 2 for 0, and they're presumably going to get first brick here, and maybe more, as Thor Garbage is going to have to run as fast as those big legs will take him.
Oh yeah, first break for sure here on the wind. He's gonna take what he can get. He's just gonna take the free farm here and get some tower damage while he can. But the gap is widened considerably between him and Mad Cow here. I'm not sure on how Camille power spikes here. Maybe Phil Destiny could give us some insight on what really he needs to get online.
Yeah, in order for him to get up to speed, he really has to get his first item. It looks like he's going to go for Trinity Force. He's got 2 of the major components, still waiting on the 3rd and an upgraded boots. Once he gets those, his abilities just mean every auto attack that he gets in naturally will do tons of damage. And there's probably better Camille experts out there, but that first item really will help him. Whereas Mad Cow's got his, and he just did tons of damage and tanked a bunch of tower shots like it was nothing.
Yeah, I believe Camille's power curve is comparable to like a Fiora. Maybe not spiking as hard late and a little stronger early, but definitely you don't want to go into a Camille game. Like if you just look at the top lane scoreline right here, this is not what you want when you pick Camille at 19 minutes. And especially with Mad Cow coming back to top lane and taking that turret.
And this is the first real sizable lead we've had so far this game. Almost 2k in the favor of Coffeehouse. Everything else has been 1k either way.
Yeah, and like we were saying in the pregame, Coffeehouse, they didn't need a lead. We all agreed that we think their comp is going to do much better as this game goes on. So if they can start getting this lead early, in spite of the things that were going wrong in the bot lane.
And with the way Cruise Master's been playing, showing up and just getting tons of kills after doing tons of damage, he doesn't even have a Trinity Force and he's doing well.
So, one thing I'm going to be watching as this game goes on, does Mad Cow know what to do on a tank? Obviously, there's a lot of memes last season where sometimes Mad Cow would be ahead in his lane and he wouldn't know when to group with his team. And we see Dubdrum going in, though, going pretty deep. He's flashing forward onto Gabe O'Neal, nearly finishing the boy off himself. Salvo gonna call the curtain and secures the kill. Meanwhile, under the tower, a ton of damage going down. Beyblade and Thor are both so low. Mad Cow charging in like a madman. He's gonna be hooked under the tower. He's going to die to Sinister Beyblade, but a 1 for 2 in favor of Coffeehouse.
Went really deep, almost secured an extra kill. But with the Camille lockdown, he had to stay in her field. To,
but he did
essentially
create a ton of pressure for his team who are now
Yes.
going to be able to take this mid lane tower.
Yeah, this is actually really proactive play out of Coffee House. They see the catch opportunity, and really he caught Sinister Beyblade, but he repositioned and it's like, well, I'm gonna take the Fed Jinx with no flash. Easy finish up with the curtain call there, and like you said, Mad Cow, his death not in vain, taking out mid tower. So all the outer rings down for Coffee House.
Yeah, and that team fight kind of went exactly like we theorized a Coffee House team fight would go. Mad Cow and Dub Drum were so balls deep, no one on OTB ever got to think about Cruise Master or Salvo.
And that's really dangerous if you're on the side of One Trick Bronies. How do you answer that when it just happened so quickly that they didn't have any other opportunity to do anything?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
they really can't hope to win the traditional 5v5 fight anymore, I don't think. I mean, this team comp already was kind of built on generating early picks, getting early lane leads, and then just having a pretty standard 4-1 split push, but that dream starting to go away. They kind of had it in Gabe O'Neill, but, you know, they had the big play bottom, got the bot tower, now they got the mid tower down. There's just not a lot of room for OTB to work with to generate picks.
Yeah. On to Mad Cow, who is a long way from home right here. He's going to try to start running back towards the farm, but I think he knows he's not going to make it there, so he's just going to try to turn and put down a little damage. Oh, he flashes, goes for the auto onto the explosive plant, but he's not going to hit it, and on the win gets the kill. But it does give over the dragon.
Dragon for top laner, I think is okay. If it's on Camille though, that's a little bit difficult to swallow.
Yeah, I would say it slightly favors Coffee House. That was an air drink, and since Coffee House is in a situation where they have all 3 tier 1s taken and they haven't given a single one up, I think that move speed could be pretty major in the type of rotation game they're going to be playing in the next few minutes.
And if it does get to late game, them with an Elder Dragon having no having no dragons on the side of One Trick Bronies is difficult.
Oh my god! Hibbs just gets lit apart by Cruise Master, who might have just single-handedly stopped this push, and now Salvo's calling the curtains. He's going for the snipe onto Hibbs, but I think it's going to be blocked. And it is. But yeah, despite being at man disadvantage, Coffee House are going to pretty easily hold their mid tower. They barely even take any damage. And,
One thing that's fancy
Thor
about Ivern.
Garbage. Sorry, I just want to note, Thor Garbage did just take the blue from Sinister Beyblade. I don't exactly know how Ivern works, but I don't think you want to be stealing that buff away at 23 minutes.
Actually, Ivern's got a
Yeah.
special. It's
Yeah.
his passive that he gives it over. So there's 2 per team on the side of Ivern. So Sinister Beyblade does have one right now.
Guys, I have a confession. Hey, I don't actually know what Ivern does.
Yeah. His one of
I'll
his
put-
most defining mechanics.
Well, I think his most defined mechanic is the one where he drops the bush, so, checkmate.
They're both very this champion's very unique.
I've actually played a game of Ranked with an Ivern on my team, so, like, I should have a bit more of an idea than I do. I've watched him in a lot of LCS games. I figured I'd find out this game, but Thor keeps missing that goddamn skill shot, so it took me a while to figure out that was a snare. I think it's a snare?
It is a snare.
Snare, now it's done.
It should have taken me 2 ganks to figure that out, but Thor made it take like 6.
Well, and the next person who attacks that champion gets pulled towards them inside their range. Or right-clicks them. So, if a Maokai right-clicks them, he's brought in, I believe. If I'm not crazy. I could be crazy.
Sure. Oh yeah. We'll say you're crazy. Whoa! That hook. Hey, hook going up into the sky.
But On the Wind is pretty far away from home here. He's going for the pick onto Sensory GG, and he's actually putting down a lot of damage. Sensory GG has to ult very defensively, and now we see a flash forward out of Hibbs. On the Wind putting down that Camille damage, picking up the kill onto the Janna.
Wow. I mean, now I just saw maybe why they picked Janna, because you can Monsoon out, or Camille out of her little box there, which stops the ability, but look at her mobility. She just went up and killed her again.
And we see Salvo gonna try to put down the curtain call. Dub wants to fight this too. They're actually putting down, and Salvo gets a kill onto Thor Garbage. Now they're turning onto Hibbs, who is a bit away from his team. A double kill for Salvo. Gabe O'Neill, though, picking up a kill of his own, gets excited and gets out. And now we are gonna see the disengage. A 3 for 2 in favor of OTB. And a good rotation out of Gabe, capitalizing on what Jinx do. But we see Dubdrum coming over the wall onto Gabe O'Neill. He gets the knockup. And Salvo is here, looking for the damage, but just barely not going to have enough. Now a flash forward on Sentry Janna.
He did it again.
Kill, but he gives up his entire backline. You're the Janna. You got to defend for those guys. A double kill for Sister Beyblade and an ace for OTB.
So I think Sensory GG was also a mid laner, and he's kind of playing with that mid laner mentality of, oh, I can get kills and I can help my team carry. He doesn't have a Morello Namicon, so getting more kills and flashing forward like that doesn't really help out the team. The gold has swung back in the favor of one-trick bronies. 1.8k ahead.
Yep, and yeah, 0 stacks in the Dark Seal here. So yeah, I mean, he's really not even built to do any kind of considerable damage. So at the end of the day, definitely not worth any more to flash in on Janna. But yeah, this game taking a turn here. I can imagine OTB actually they're gonna climb the gold chart mountain, and I think they're gonna start taking command here because Camille on the win. He's warmed up, man. He drank the coffee because he's going hard in the paint on this Camille, and I love it. It's awesome, fun to watch.
And what's interesting about Janna burning her flash there is she didn't have it in the top lane when she ended up dying from the Camille engage and then getting flayed in by Hibbs. So instantly burns the flash to die a second time within like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that guy already died twice in a minute. Did you really have to shame him like that?
This is the SBL, we know no shame.
Alright, but speaking of no shame, Dubdrum going on the engagement. No one near, but he's gonna let Cruisemaster get hooked. Cruisemaster has to flash so fast. Now Hibbs is very deep here. Dubdrum ulting kind of defensively. Gabe O'Neill getting some good damage down on the side. But a first kill onto Hibbs, and now Salvo calling the curtain. A double kill for Cruz.
Ooh, boy, all the carries survive.
It's so, as we were talking about earlier, it's just going to be so hard to engage in the coffee house. That was such an awkward fight out of them, but it didn't matter because their comp was in such a great position, and now they're on the Baron with no opposing smites.
And Cruisemaster did a great job there with flashing after Hibbs went to follow his hook.
Now we see On the Wind going in, gets the first kill of the fight, but that's gonna be it. We see Baron Nashor going over to Dubdrum, and Gabe O'Neill gonna really playing with fire there.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea was great to try to contest it there. Like I said earlier, they kept all 3 of their damage dealers up, so they're just hoping to get some poke down, maybe scare him out of the pit. Trades 1 for 1, but at the end of the day, still Baron buff going over to Coffee House, so they're now in the driver's seat with the Baron power play up ahead.
Something I'd like to point out is the CS discrepancy between the mid laner and the AD carry on one-trick bronies. 85 CS for Sinister Beyblade and 50 CS for Gabe O'Neill. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing a considerable amount of damage. I mean, he almost 3-shotted Sensory GG, Gabe O'Neill there on Jinx. So really, they just have to stay alive and do the damage during these fights, but like you guys have been referencing, it's just not possible with this team composition. And even when they pick fights that they think they can win, a hook straight into Cruisemaster's face, they still can't come on top with the beefy front line that they can't handle.
Yeah, and oh, Sinister Beyblade with the long range there, but no follow-up. Cruz with a really bad Zyro, not going to hit a thing there. But there is still a nice man advantage in this mid lane as Coffee House starts pushing forward. And Dubdrum threatens the dive, and he's a man, he's gonna take it. Pop the Zac ult immediately as Salvo is... No, he's ignoring this turret. He is going into the fight, but he did pull turret aggro, and he has to flash out on the back end. This could actually be a good fight for one-trick ponies who are now on the forward. Salvo with the curtain call on the other end of the fight. going for whatever he can take, but it's not going to be enough. That's 3 kills over to One Trick Bronies.
Whoa, okay, well, once again, the backline, not somehow protected by the Camille flank. I mean,
they dove multiple towers, or behind the second tower, almost in range of the third tower. And Camille just was like, okay, you'll be that deep, I'll just kill your carries that have to be under my tower to do damage to my carries and tanks.
Yeah, like we said, there's no way that OTB can get onto the carries of Coffee House, but the Coffee House tanks got so far from their carries that they were essentially put by their own, and now Camille goes in. Oh my god!
They're going for it. They're going for the game.
This could be it. That's a jinx and a big enough creep wave.
Oh, kill it!
Cruisemaster has to make the play here, and that was not it. Cruisemaster gets chunked out. Cruisemaster goes down. Gabe O'Neill now getting excited, going to take out what he can, but he's actually going to pull turret aggro. Oh no, they screwed up the dive. And Cruisemaster does not give his life up in vain.
Huh. Well, I mean, they stay alive.
That should have been the game.
Yeah.
And if OTB managed to throw this, which is definitely feasible, they're going to be feeling really bad about how they executed that one. But in the meantime, they are going to go take 2 Tier 1 towers off the map, grow that gold lead a bit more, up to 5k now.
That was a really interesting series of events, as Salvo and Century GG were very confident in the face of 5 champions to be trying to CS under tower.
Yeah, that's definitely the Salvo I know and love.
But lucky for them, Mad Cow simply killed all the minions and provided enough utility and wasted enough time that One Trick Bronies had to back. They didn't have time for another wave to reach the tower before everyone got up.
Now we see Hibbs going for the play on the Mad Cow. Century GG showing up here, but I don't think that's going to be enough to scare off anybody, as everyone but the AD carries are showing up in this top lane, and the AD carries are making their way. But nope, neither team going to fight there.
Yeah, they kind of have the lane set up for OTB. They already have bottom lane pushing, mid lane's going to be pushing with them as well. So they're looking to just put some pressure here on the top lane. Maybe if they get a pick somehow, do a dive, but it's going to be kind of scary with no true front line.
It will be, but they do have a lot of pick. I mean, they have long range pick potential
Right.
with the Thresh and the Syndra, and
The one thing they do have to worry about is super minions are pushing in the mid lane. There are no minions left, and there's going to be 2 super minions there, threatening towers. So Scarl, we in this. Mad Cow's going to have to go back and deal with those, or they have to send a carry back to deal with it.
They put a ton of damage down onto On the Wind, whose only tank stats are coming from the Merc Treads and the Deadmans.
Yep, and actually it looks like they send Dub Jump back with the no TP, but he's pretty fast with Slingshot.
Yeah, they do
yeah.
also have the wave in a good position, so they have a lot of time they can afford to give up right here before that wave's going to even approach this tower.
That tower is very low.
Fact.
Oh man, look at that. That's dark on the mini-map. That's new.
Yeah.
Riot doing work.
Riot doing the work, man.
I'm
And
proud.
there's been 3 dragons this game. Infernal, 2 clouds.
Oh, now we see the
Coffee
engagement
House.
on the Wind, though, who is not being engaged on. This is... I feel like 10 minutes ago, these teams would have fought here, and now maybe now they're going to fight. Salvo calls the curtain, and I'm not entirely sure why. Going for the snipes onto Thor garbage, but he's got a GA. You don't really want to chase onto that.
Yeah, if that was channeled a little bit earlier and he was able to land that first shot onto pretty much anyone from OTB, I think they could have followed up and got some retreat kills there. But OTB breaking out the trick plays here. Did they just fake up back and now they're going back in? But Coffee House not persuaded.
Oh, and a big Zyra ult on a Cruisemaster. He gets the 6-man knockup if you count Daisy, and I sure as hell do. Now Salvo trying to put some damage on his Mad Cow. Gets the kill onto Hibbs, and they're chasing forward. Beyblade has to flash defensively. on the win with the cheekiest back I've seen in years. And now Salvo flashes the wall, gets the shutdown. He's going to barely make it out alive.
Ooh,
that was
was
a 4v5.
close. Wait, was Dub in mid lane the whole time?
It was a 4v6, man. Daisy was there.
True. Dubdrum walked back to the minions, started fighting them, started walking back to the team fight. The team fight ended before he got there, so he walked back to lane.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the power of, I mean, I guess Curtain Call was even down during that fight?
Yeah, they used it to scare them away. Or, well, they started backing away, and Salvo used it.
Yeah, and that was a really huge situation to win a fight for Coffee House, because now they've bought out the inhibitor respawn. They have their side lanes prepped just as the Dragon and Baron are spawning. And, I mean, they're down gold, but not much for what we think is the better comp, and they have the full playbook open.
Yeah,
Camille does have TP, so if this Baron starts, Camille needs to TP into it, and I don't see any wards except for the one near mid lane that's close for him to TP to.
Yeah, I think they just needed to start the Baron and try to bait out that TP. But now, yeah, now On the Wind's gonna back, he'll relieve pressure, and now it's just gonna be kind of a mind game on lane assignments here.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised that Coffee House are a bit hesitant to start the Baron, because that's one of the few places where they can't really use their disengage, is if they're stuck in the Baron pit.
It looks like One Trick Bronies just wants to push up mid and retake this inhibitor if possible.
Yeah, gives them some space,
Without...
get the super minions, go to Baron or Elder Drake.
Yeah, and they have to do this without casualties, as it's a 4v5, and they're all really squishy. Even Thor, with his GA, will be squishy. Dubdrum went to counter the Camille, which worked, stopped the tower from being taken, and One Trick Bronies playing very passively, didn't even want to push up to the inhibitor with that 4v4.
And OTB really want to go farm that giant wave in the top, and we see the smart rotation coming out of Coffee House, who are headed towards the Elder Dragon.
And
they
should
have
go
a bit of an advantage here.
Quickly.
Oh man, that is dire right there. But Sensory GG has to watch out. He might get picked before this fight starts, but he's got some fancy feet. Runs way away from Myro Hibbs there.
And
this Elder
tornado.
Dragon is just barely going to go down in time. He gets secured by Zap, but Watson on the win is on the backline. He is giving Salvo a bad time, as all of his teammates have to start healing for him. But they get the shutdown into Camille, and Mad Cow is still alive. Now he is moving forward, and this is a good position for Coffee House, who are now calling the curtain. Who has to flash out. But at what cost? As this could be a Baron attempt out of Coffee House.
I'm surprised they're going to go to Baron. They should be able to take 2 towers and an inhibitor if they really wanted to. Ultimately, it's up to them what they feel more confident in right now. As it is a 4v5, they lost Mad Cow.
Yeah, I think Baron is the right call here. I don't blame them for not wanting to go for some 4v5 tower dives with both the Jinx and the Syndra available, and this was a guaranteed Baron. So they're going to go for the 2 super objectives, Bend and Reset, with their choice of how they want to assault the map.
Yeah, and now they just took the very small gold league. So I mean, this game has been so back and forth. We're approaching the 40-minute mark. I don't know who's gonna win this game.
The one thing that's interesting, Mad Cow does not have the Baron. He was dead when it was taken, so he cannot split push with the TP to take towers. And the Dragon that's had is more than halfway done. They've got, I think, like 45 seconds left to use it, and they should really try and take some towers quickly if they want to push that advantage with the Dragon. The Baron will just continue to help them for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, but they do stack all 5 up in this mid lane, where this tower is fairly low. If those cannon creeps can start hitting on it, which there are 2 of them looking to. And Salvo gonna man up, toss a shot in, and that's a mid-tier 2 down. Gold lead back to the Coffee House.
Yep, Wave's a little far out at bottom, but that's pretty easy to go grab, and they're just going to force that one down. There shouldn't be really any contest. Dragon buff just went off, though, so now it's just battling against the Baron buff, but it's still pretty tough. Especially with the only wave clear out of OTB being Jinx, really? Jinx Rockets? I mean, Syndra, to some extent, I assume.
And Mad Cow goes back to stop
on the win.
Oh, he's not going to stop Camille. That's the inhibitor going down, and we didn't even realize it.
Good trade.
And it's 40 minutes in. I don't know if there's going to be a kill going back. A Dum tries to force the tower dive on the other end of the map here, but he's not going to get it. Although, do watch out. Mad Cow does have a teleport available. A Jinx Rocket goes forward and doesn't do a whole lot.
That was really preemptive, though, because if any of that CC landed prior before that rocket, it might have been a kill.
Yeah,
the 1v1 in the Baron pit!
What does this late game Camille do? It's looking
not too bad
for On the win. But Gabe O'Neal gets insta-gimped under his own tower, and Dum is pushing forward. This could be the game-ending fight here, as all of Coffeehouse are flashing forward. They're taking the tier 2, and they are not done. Daisy is not enough of a front line, because Jinx is down and Sinister Beyblade is in the fountain. Salvo on a rampage, and now there is everyone but the Syndra dead, and a Baron wave pushing in, I think, is going to finally be our GG for the Coffee House.
Yeah, that should be the win, as they TP to the minion taking tower damage.
Yeah, Beyblade gonna go try to save his KDA. He's gonna get the kill onto the support, but that doesn't matter. He gets the kill onto the Cruise, but that doesn't matter because the Nexus goes down to the Coffee House, and they are going to move on to 2-0 to start the season.
Oh no, the trash talk begins. Yeah, wow. I mean, well played out of both teams, honestly. For the most part, I mean, there's obviously mistakes from both sides, but I mean, Coffee House, I think I just like their draft a little bit more because it's safer, and usually in SBL these pretty typical frontline, backline, team fighting comps usually win, and there's a lot of finesse out of OTB that they needed to get right to try to win. So who do you think we should talk to?
I really like the play out of Cruise Master. Most of his plays the entire game were very heads up, doing lots of damage, aside from a couple ults that just didn't land where he wanted them to. But what about you, 30? Any preference?
Who did you say? Cruise Master?
Cruise Master.
Yeah.
I like the Cruise pick.
Yeah, let's get Cruise in here. It's between him and Mad Cow.
Joined your channel.
Alright, so
Hello?
there he is, the young Cruise who can let himself into this channel.
So, awesome play. The CS differential was very surprising
large.
for me. Yeah, you guys rotated better, but lane didn't go as we would have expected it to. So, what were comms like to really bring that advantage in the rotations?
In the rotations, there was I don't think there was much to talk about. It was just you should TP bottom now. We're going in. Ivern's top.
And what about
It was
your
just-
early roam bottom from mid lane after Sinister Beyblade either died or backed?
I just like to sit in the back. Like, if there's more than 2 people in bottom lane, make your way bottom. If there's more than 1 person in top lane, you go top. It just sort of fit. I don't really know. I just sort of kind of ignored Sinister Beyblade in mid, because except for the one time we traded deaths, he was very, very passive mid lane. Just so that CS differential didn't really matter that much.
So you might have looked at it already as well, but the damage that both of you put out ended up pretty much being the same.
Yeah.
And with that CS advantage that he had, were you just better positioned in teamfights to do what you needed to do, or how did that go?
If we're gonna look at Syndra versus Zyra, Zyra's plants do a lot, especially when you have Dragon buff or Elder Dragon buff plus Leandry's just poking whenever we were defending a tower. It was just poking that Thresh over and over again. I think that's where a lot of that damage just sort of racked up.
And then one of the other questions I had before I let the other guys talk, this team comp looked really good out of Champion Select. Is this comfort picks, something you guys planned against One Trick Bronies? Is this something we can expect out of you guys going forward?
I mean, I'm gonna go with 4 out of 5 of these champions were comfort picks, and it just sort of meshed, so we went with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything you guys would like to add or ask?
Don't ban Jinx. Don't pick Jinx. That's all Salvo really wants to get across. And I don't really have a message in mind, so I'm just gonna echo him.
Yeah, I mean, what do you? I guess, I mean, I'm sure Salvo had some choice words, but what happened in your team chat when Salvo or when Jinx was picked against you guys?
At that point, we were very surprised. Despite what happened last season, we were still kind of surprised. We had the triple ban on Mad Cow into the quad ban once the second round started. We were more surprised at that because of certain views that were expressed from the other team.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any other questions. It was a nicely played game, like I said, by both teams, but you guys coming out ahead. Really liked what you guys did here in the draft. Swifty, any further questions?
No, it was a fun game. Congrats on your win. You guys are up to 2-0.
Yep.
I think a lot of people liked you guys going into the season. You guys haven't started to suck too much yet.
I'm pretty sure 5 or 6 people put us at the bottom.
Oh, well,
yeah, they
that's
were kind of hated.
Okay, I
But
take
you
that
got
back.
Dundrum playing.
All right, you guys are 2-0. How does it feel to be proving the haters wrong?
I mean, we kind of expected that going into this season, particularly because of how solid. We don't have a Mighty Wolf or Thrifty, but we have 4 very solid platinum players, and then I'm just along for the ride.
Well, keep riding on, Drew's Master.
All right, we'll cut it for a quick break, and we'll be back shortly with game
User
2.
left your channel.